Thank you to our viewers who are tuning into another CSE listed issuer update. I'm Anil Mall. I represent the Canadian Securities Exchange, and I am speaking today with Joseph van den Elsen. He is the CEO of Pampa Metals Corp on the CSE under the symbol PM. Joseph, thank you so much for taking the time today. I hope you're well.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Joseph, so Pampa Metals, it's a copper-focused company. I want to talk a little bit about the company and what it does, but I want to start by talking about copper a little bit. You know, in the investment community, especially right now, a lot of the attention goes towards the lithium, the graphite, nickel, even uranium, which is the darling of the industry right now. But I want to get your insight on why copper is such an important element and why investors should be paying attention to this space.
So we've always operated in the primary markets for copper, and we've done that with the view that copper is a long-term necessary input into the green energy revolution. And it's also a commodity which is very difficult to turn on and off from a production standpoint. So you're talking about solid market fundamentals that support an exploration company that's trying to create value over 5 years, as opposed to something that's much more cyclical, much more volatile, and liable to crash and burn. So I guess to try and answer that question as succinctly as I can, we're very comfortable that copper has a significant role to play in the global economy going forward. And we think we're in the right part of the world to find high-grade, high-volume projects capable of fueling what is going to be a fairly significant supply deficit as some of the older mines in the copper space suffer declining grade and ultimately deplete resources. There's going to need to be companies such as Pampa that supply quality projects capable of providing the next phase of global production.
Got it. So late last year, the team put news out. There was a little bit shift in the focus. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. Pampa listed on the CSE in December 2020, and traditionally or historically, we'd been focused on Chile. A fairly significant opportunity presented itself to the company late last year, and that was in the form of the Piuquenes project here in San Juan, Argentina. The Piuquenes project is located in San Juan Province, as I mentioned, and it's along a fairly significant, in a global standpoint, copper, gold, and silver porphyry belt. So we were attracted to the jurisdiction for the number of significant world-class projects in the area, and also the fact that we were able to acquire a project which had a fairly significant body of historical work, including ore-grade intercept. Pampa had historically been involved in fairly early greenfields exploration. This presented an opportunity for us to acquire a project that was more advanced, and we thought that given the challenging markets at the moment, it was a transaction that was capable of driving the company forward. That happened. We announced that transaction on the 30th of November last year, and that's been our primary focus since then.
So late last year. Joseph, I want to rewind a little bit. I know you mentioned the San Juan Province in Argentina, which is the focus. You also mentioned the region having world-class deposits. For our viewers who might not be as savvy when it comes to this space, can you maybe talk to us on what actually defines a world-class project?
Sure. And I don't think there's any easy answer to that. But when I say world-class projects, the reality is that copper porphyry projects need to be large in size and high in grade to get funded. Chile has been the source, as I mentioned before, of more than a quarter of the global supply of copper, and porphyry deposits themselves contribute about 60 or 70% of global copper production. Chile is a very well-developed, well-explored copper jurisdiction, and right across the border, along the same mineral belts, you have the less explored, less of developed San Juan Province. So the San Juan Province has seen a lot of interest recently from the likes of the Filo and the Group which is developing a number of fairly significant projects up in the Vicuña district of San Juan. That's a district that straddles the Chilean and the Argentinian border. And when I say globally significant, Filo have recently received a large investment from BHP. So that was an equity investment into the project. And you also have a number of other majors, Teck, South 32 and the like, that are actively building portfolios in the region. The Vicuña district, we're to the south of the Vicuña district, down in San Juan, a few hours outside the town of Barrial. And our nearest projects are Glencore's El Pachón project and Aldebaran's El Tar project.
Got it. So late 2023, shift in focus from Chile to San Juan Province in Argentina. And 2024 has started with a lot of momentum, I want to say, for you and your team. You're currently in a drill program. Can you talk to us about that?
Certainly can. One of the most attractive things about the Piuquenes project when we acquired it in late November last year was that it came fully permitted. Okay. And it meant that we were able to immediately start drilling. So having been established in Chile, it was quite easy for us to cross the border with the same technical team we'd been using in Chile and start working straight away. So we mobilized in December. We started drilling in January, and we're doing a 3, possibly 4-hole program. So we're talking drill holes, order of magnitude, 850, 900 meters depth. And we put out an update about 2 weeks ago now, where we flagged that on the first hole, we encountered a fairly significant enrichment zone and primary mineralization from relatively shallow depths. So the first hole to date has been successful, and it's satisfied our objectives, although we are still waiting on the assay results. So we probably don't have too much to discuss until we have those results, other than to say things are progressing on schedule, on budget. And this is a program that we would see concluding in around April, and assay results to follow progressively soon and into June.
So there's definitely milestones, obviously our viewers, your investors can look out for from you and your team after this program once the results come through. Joseph, can you talk to us a little bit about your background? How did you get into this space?
So I originally studied law and worked in financial services back in Australia until about 2011. I continued studying post-undergraduate. I did some postgraduate in mining law, mineral exploration, geoscience, a master of mineral economics, and effectively transitioned across to what I consider the funnel part of the market, which is finding projects and raising capital and exploring them. So since 2011, 2012, I've had a number of executive and non-executive and advisory roles with juniors, always in the mining space, operation space, I should say, and always or almost exclusively in South America. So I'm fortunate enough to have learnt Spanish as a child, and that's why I've found, I guess, my home, if you like, in this part of the world. This being Pampa is my first time on the Canadian markets. So up until joining the board of Pampa in late 2022, I'd only ever worked on the ASX. So I'm the sole executive director of the company, and I'm supported by, we have a Chilean resident, Julian, who's on the board. He's former head of Rio Tinto exploration for the region. He's British by nationality, but a long-term resident in Chile. Adrian Manger is the chairman. He's a former BHP, long-term BHP employee, former Chilean resident, and we have a fairly impressive board of advisors and consultants, if you like, that ensure I get plenty of support on the technical and the commercial side of things.
Got it. Now, where can we direct our viewers to go read up on your project, your background, and of course, sign up for press releases, do their due diligence? and reach out to you and your team should they have more questions?
So pampametals.com is a website which we actively maintain. People can sign up for our distribution list. They'll also find the latest presentation, information on the projects. We'll also be attending PDAC this year. We're at booth 3302, if I'm not mistaken, and they should feel welcome to come and visit us.
Excellent. Well, Joseph, I look forward to not only seeing you at the PDAC conference, but hosting you on maybe towards the beginning or midsummer, where we could talk a little bit more about the drill results, the drill program that you guys have currently in progress with, and talk about the future of Pampa Metals.
I look forward to it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you very much. You've been listening to Mr. Joseph van den Elsen. He is the CEO of Pampa Metals Corp. Joseph, thank you once again for your time.
Thanks for having me.